making a requested video because a lot of people don't know how to increase spiritual power or cleanse their aura. So I decided to make a video to help you to increase your spiritual power and why you would want to do that. So the reason that you would want to practice spiritual hygiene is the same reason that you practice hygiene for your body. You're trying to cleanse your body of all of the things you come in contact with throughout the day. The clearer your auric field and the more cleansed you are and powerful spiritually, the less likely you are to be fed on by vampiric people or parasitic entities. And it just makes it a hell of a lot easier to do things like manifestation or changing habits that you don't like, etc. These ideas are largely based off of the Vedas and occultists from the West like Dion Fortune and others. So some of the things that can be done to clean your aura is auric brushing, where you sweep visually, like you sweep in your mind's eye all of the dirty energy away from you. You can also imagine that you are taking all of that spiritual baggage and putting it into a flame to burn up. You can also imagine that there is a flame inside of your body and your heart center that is cleansing away and burning any of these things. You can imagine that you are blowing black smoke out of your mouth and that all of the negative toxic buildup in your body is coming out through the black smoke. You can also imagine, this is like the classic one, is that you are embodied by a golden white light. For some people, depending on like your religious or spiritual affiliation, you might picture that light being a specific color depending on like your deity, etc. But the most generic and simple one is white with like a golden sheen. And imagining that there is like this protective egg around you or your family or your home. You can also keep negative toxic people out of your home by using like eggshells, like ground up, or like hot pepper or just coarse salt in front of your doorways, because I found that really does keep people out. Even if they're planning on coming to your house, there will be some kind of reason that they can't. I've done this firsthand and found that toxic parasitic people, like they end up just like not being able to come over for some reason, or like something happened that day and something comes up and then they suddenly can't walk through the door. It's really bizarre, but it does work. Using salt in your body wash just sounds like such a like silly hack, but sea salt, like spraying sea salt, like putting sea salt in a container and like spraying it on yourself, adding it to your body wash, using salt water to bathe. It's a purifier. It's always been a purifier. Like throughout history, people have always seen salt as being a purifier. You can do mantras, like if you're into mantras or if you're into prayers, you can do like find the clarifying, purifying prayer from your religious background, or you use mantras that are protective or clearing. You can use like I know with Western esotericism, there are like very specific rituals that you can do. So one of them is called the solar cross technique, where you imagine like an ankh or a golden cross over your heart and it's radiating like outwards. You can also do, like if you're Hindu or if you are somewhat attracted to Buddhism and Hinduism, or you're interested in practicing that, even if you aren't that particular religion, you can do kavach, like mantra kavacham, like which is from your particular deity, or specific stotrams you can listen to, and those are protective. They give off an energy. I know with Muslims, they play particular Quranic verses to kind of cleanse the space. Pranayama, or like alternating nadi breathing for like 5 minutes each, and what that does is it balances your masculine and your feminine nadi circuits in your body, so it's very stabilizing. It can also help you get to sleep if you can't sleep. If you have your left nasal breathing and not your right, often you'll be hyper or agitated, and a way to help yourself calm down is to get in touch with your right brain or your feminine side, and that can be alleviated or helped by breathing through your, oh, my nails are all messed up, breathing through your right side, your right nostril. So sometimes if you have one side blocked, like, it creates like an imbalance of your energies. So it's really important, like, why do we care about like increasing our intuition? It's really important that we have a strong intuition so that we know how to discern and block things from coming into our space or into our lives that are dangerous. So you don't want to give too much energy to groups, people, or ideas until you really like take it with a grain of salt. Like, don't just like jump in and give all your energy. Really be careful with your energy and what you decide to get involved in. Another thing is, a lot of people, including myself in the past, have gotten into some really interesting practices and stuff like that, and I highly encourage that if you are considering, I'm going to make a video about this, but if you are considering approaching different deities or doing different spiritual practices, I highly encourage you to not just assume it's like your religion and of like what you were raised in, and actually do a lot more research, because sometimes there are rules or there are different things you have to be aware of before you start practicing it, and it can create a lot of problems, like attracting different entities that you don't actually know how to get rid of, because the power amongst people and entities is distributed based on that internal person's work that they do to raise their vibration. And so if another being is a lot stronger than you, it doesn't matter like what you're doing if it's not enough, if they're stronger. So you need to like keep these certain practices in place to keep up your spiritual vibe, to drown out the noise of these other influences that begin to try to be attracted to you, right? Because like a light in the darkness, a flicker, like you become a moth, a flame to the moth, basically. So here are some lifestyle behaviors that are pretty well known, but that people do typically to raise their vibration or raise their intuition or their spiritual manifestation powers. So your diet, eating animals dulls your mind. I'm not saying like you're a bad person for eating animals, because I eat animals. Like, I have a hard time not eating animals. I try not to, but it's very difficult if you don't know how to cook like vegan food, or if you weren't raised in it, to choose it. But the reality is that either fasting, taking long breaks from meat, or not engaging in eating red meat is a way to improve your vibration and make your spiritual body stronger. Pranic foods are foods that are from the earth. They're foods that are directly from the earth. So anything that grows from the earth is a lot more nutritious, but also just spiritually sound in your mind and body when you eat it. The other thing is like your water. You can bless your water. You can infuse your water with solar or lunar power by leaving it out and letting it sit. The other thing you can do is cleanse your space by using incense. I personally don't use sage. I know a lot of people do. It is a Native American practice. I personally don't use it. If that's what you want to use, you can. I use sandalwood particularly, and camphor, because those are the most purifying. Frankincense, sandalwood, camphor, those are purifying. They aren't just offerings. They will rid your space of negative energy. So it's a really good idea to do that in your home. And I will make another video because this is just not long enough.